So SpaceTimeLab is using geotagged and timestamp data to study about the people and the place. So Xiang Hui is my PhD student who is working on using mobile GPS data to understand the mobility and the policy implementation. So actually, I think the keynotes this morning, Michael and the previous quite a few speakers talk about the net zero. Yes, so we talk about net zero. Actually, I think in the UK, I think transport contributed more than a quarter of the carbon emission. And among them, more than half of them actually is from the car and the taxis. So if we want to achieve net zero in 2050, so that means we really need to push active travel if we will still want to keep on traveling as well, right? So I think last November in Leeds, I talked about actually we are lucky enough to secure a UK-wide mobile GPS data which record people's movement in the whole UK. So based on that, we did a little bit of analysis. We don't know this, yeah. So due to time limited, I just want to give you a little bit overview of what we found from the analysis. So what we did is use GPS data. We're analyzing the travel mode. From travel mode, we know where people go. So we're able to put them all into networks. So we can analyzing what is really on the road, including all the transport, other modes as well, like tube and trains, because we are talking about the road surface. So we focus on these few modes. So we talk about bus, car, cycling, and walking. So if I can make this work, God, previous one, please. Yes. Okay, that's fine. So basically, if you look at this, so we have 4 lockdown. Okay, so really analyzing what's happening during the pandemic. And because the pandemic now, when we're looking back, is more than 2 years now. So what's the behavior change? Because the behavior change can understand, say, are we going to lead into active travel more, and then what's going to happen? So that's the way we're doing it. So we pick up the time from the January 2020 to very recent. Actually, there's more. This is every dot representing 1 week's analysis average. So of course, the first lockdown is in April 2020. So you can see everything just shut down. So dramatically, we used the 2020 February's data because that's what TfL thinks is February is a good reference. So we used this reference as a benchmark. And then so the first lockdown, so everything dropped. Okay, that's understandable. Then gradually we have to not be knocked. So we start to move, of course, very little bit, but then we start moving again. So really you can say here, although this is not the best color code, okay, so we should really say, so the bus is the one you can say, bus really shift very at the bottom. Then you have the green is the car, so basically car in the beginning. Then you have the purple is walking. Then the light blue is the cycling. So people move a lot. Cycling, very interesting even because April last year actually had, but no, in 2020 it's very good weather. Don't forget that. The people to cycling, then yes, no bus, okay, start driving. And we walk around a little bit more for keep your exercise. That's quite normal behavior. Okay, then keep on because some help help out to eat, right? So push loss in London, but this is really in London, okay? So then we come to second lockdown. Again, we drop a little bit, but not hugely, okay? Then we come to the third lockdown. We start from there and here. But still, if you compare this bit to this bit, seems quite similar, but the car is on the top, okay? So then we come to to the fourth lockdown, which is just before around the Christmas period, actually after the Christmas. So we saw another one. So, but you see what is on the top is the car, okay? And then, so this is the bus. And then of course, no one really want to walk again because it's cold, it's in the winter as well. But of course, and then after that, we started recovery, okay? A little bit because started walking, I think we still don't want to take the bus. And then walking still at the bottom, and then we do a little cycling, but actually the mode of cycling doesn't really continue. So that's what's kind of worrying a bit. So that's from the flow overall. If I can manage to next slide. Oh, sorry. So yes. So then what's about distance? Not only about follow, so we'll also look at the distance. So if you look at the distance of it, so this is the car, okay? So the car, you can see, again, this is the first, just this vertical line means lockdown period. So the car right now here, they travel much long distance compared before the pandemic, okay? Then coming to the bus, we use bus much less, but we use bus much less journey as well, shorter distance, because you worry about, so for me, just my psychologically, even on the tube, half an hour, I'm felt okay. Longer than that, so that's kind of reflected in the bus. And then the train journey, actually train journey doesn't shorten much. That means that's a journey must to do. So that's why people keep on doing that. And then the tube, again, the tube journey now is a little bit short. And the cycling, the third, they're not really sustainable very long. And then the walking as well. So that's the picture. That's really that positive, intense, active travel or green travel. Now, again, I think Michael showed the how to say, what's the space being allocated on the road surface, another way to look at it. So again, this is for lockdown period. And then you can see if that's the major road, that's local road. So we look at the 4 modes again. So for the major road, you can see during the first lockdown, little bit darker means more flow, more space being used by them. So more people use that. Again, it's getting much less immediately the bus one. And in the local road, actually, I mean, the more people just local on the local road. And then again, you call the car, you can see that's getting darker. That means they take more space. And then if we're walking, I mean, in the major road, people don't really use it hugely, but I think that's really relevant to the walking mode as well. Allow people work at home, so don't really go to work. So of course, in the local road, you can see in the lockdown, immediately get more, and then tailed off, and then start a little bit and tailed off. So that's the kind of, if we look at the car. So in the major road, you can see, it's not very clear, but you can see the color comparison. More, and again, little bit, this is not much, but here, third lockdown much more. And the same thing, fourth one is already quite high, but only this bit increased a little bit. So that's kind of, I hope you give you a little bit of flavor, say, yes, during the pandemic, people not getting much green. That's why you can get data. Difficult to buy the car, no matter it's new or second-hand car, and difficult to get your driving license, isn't it? So that's kind of also showing on this data set. So just give very briefly the conclusion. I hope I've shown you, say, pandemic we were originally thinking, say, because of course I haven't considered about the people we do working at home, so you may reduce the whole total amount of time. But we're going to calculate the carbon emission at about next step to really understand what is reasonable in terms of carbon emission. But overall, the picture is not that positive because of behavior. People tell us because we think our individual, not public transport, make it safe. Okay, I will stop here. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.